A young man ventures far, far to the east, where the sun rises from the sea. He's there for one reason, and one reason only: to ask a question to the sun itself. You see, this young man is Phaethon, a demigod son of a sea nymph, who has spent much of his life questioning just exactly who his father was. And after torment or ridicule from those around him at his bold proclamations that he was the son of the sun god Helios, he had to venture out and find the truth. Thus, he storms into the palace of the sun at the east and is greeted by Helios, who looks at him immediately with a softened stare. The boy, however, cannot see that, the full concentrated power of the sun rendering him nearly blind, and shielding himself from his father's very presence. So the god lowers his intensity and speaks to the child. "What brought you here?" "My mother, Clymene, claims that you are my father, but no one seems to believe me when I say it." "Your mother speaks the truth. You are my son, Phaethon. I will give you proof. Ask anything of me, and I will give it to you." And there was the trouble. Helios was a god of his word, and most importantly, actively swore an oath to fulfill the request of his son, no matter what it was. The request Phaethon thought of, he wished, for just one day, to pilot the chariot which Helios drove, the chariot that brings the sun across the sky, pulled by the burning horses of great power. Helios, being a concerned father and a knowing god, tried to dissuade the boy. He told him that it was dangerous for anyone but himself to ride the chariot. Even Zeus was said to have trouble holding on to the reins of these horses, and steering the chariot was a task that required concentration and power. The god, even though he said that he would grant it, would instead go to the next one and grant it if his son asked. Unfortunately, Phaethon, filled with the swagger of a young man and the boldness of a child that just found out his divine parentage, stood resolute, demanding to take hold of the chariot horses and for one day guide the sun across the sky. Here, seeing he could not dissuade the boy, Helios nodded his head, and Phaethon took the reins, and like a stream of light and fire the horses climbed high into the air, the child in tow. For a few moments it was marvelous. From the climb he could see it all: the sprawling Mediterranean Sea, the sands of Egypt, the great blue of the Atlantic Ocean far to the west, the curvature of the world. He was above it all, atop the world. Yet, as he did reach that apex, the chariot became unbalanced. Confident as he was no Helios. Divine as his blood may be, he could not control the horses. They pulled, feeling no resistance, and burst forth at speeds he could not contend with. He crashed beyond high noon and into the clear skies above, where the constellations of Cancer, Taurus, and Scorpio all threatened to cause him to faint, before the panicked horses suddenly took a sharp turn toward the earth. The full heat of their charge caused the world to shudder and burn. Complaints rose from every corner, from the bottom of the sea to the sky itself, testaments to the top of Olympus, as the various biomes of the world burned and churned. Mountains trembled and burned. The mighty Nile recoiled in the heat and boiled away. Phaethon himself was wreathed in flames, feeling himself burning while barely keeping his hands on the reins. A struggle to remain conscious and alive, while failing to control the uncontainable might of these mighty horses. As he burned, he heard it, the sky-splitting, world-shattering clap of a lightning bolt. Zeus Almighty had seen fire on his doorstep, and hearing the complaints of Gaia herself and the rest of heaven, put a stop to the charge, a lightning bolt crashing through the sky. The wheels were blasted from the chariot as Phaethon was struck dead. The impact was so fierce the great horses were sent careening into the Mediterranean Sea, while Phaethon now spiraled in a burning mass. His body crashed into the river Eridanus, and the tumult about the world finally came to an end. As Helios' daughters mourned the loss of their brother, the world was brought back into order, though not wholly unchanged, as areas had become deserts and others would become bitter, with the sun scurrying further away. Thus is the tragedy of Phaethon, a youth struck down in his prime, a child that demanded just one favor from his father, only to find that taking hold of a god's chariot is not something mere mortal men can ever dream of. As always, thanks for watching.